something feels wrong, and this time it's not just a feeling. In Outlander Season 8, Episode 6, one quiet decision changes the future of every single character. But hidden inside that choice is a warning no one is paying attention to. A fire is coming, a betrayal is growing, and someone we love might not survive what's next. Episode 6 doesn't just move the story forward, it quietly reshapes the entire world of Outlander. At first glance, it feels like closure. Conflicts are addressed, justice is served, relationships shift. But if you look closer, there's something much deeper happening beneath the surface. Choices that seem noble may actually be dangerous. Moments that feel emotional may actually be setting up tragedy. And by the time the episode ends, you start to realize this wasn't resolution. This was the calm before something devastating. The episode begins in the aftermath of chaos, where tension is still hanging thick in the air after the betrayal at the lodge. Jamie is no longer reacting. He's planning. And that shift is everything. For the first time in a while, we see him not just as a husband or a protector, but as a leader carrying the weight of an entire community. His decision to remove the men who betrayed him isn't impulsive. It's calculated, it's controlled, and in his mind, it's necessary. Because betrayal, if left unchecked, spreads like disease. But here's where the emotional conflict starts to build. Claire doesn't see it the same way. Where Jamie sees order, Claire sees consequence. Where Jamie sees justice, Claire sees suffering. And this difference between them creates one of the most powerful tensions in the episode, because neither of them is wrong, but they are not aligned. Claire understands something Jamie is choosing to overlook. These men are not isolated individuals. They are fathers, husbands, providers. And punishing them means punishing entire families who had no part in the betrayal. And then comes that moment, the one that changes everything. Mrs. Crombie's plea isn't just emotional, it's symbolic. It represents every silent voice in that community, every woman who has no control over the decisions made by the men in their lives. Her desperation forces Jamie to confront something deeper than loyalty or betrayal. It forces him to confront power. And this is where Jamie makes a decision that feels both unexpected and revolutionary. Instead of restoring authority to the men, he gives it to the women. On the surface, it feels like justice, even empowerment. A bold move that challenges the norms of that time. But underneath, it creates a shift in power that no one fully understands yet. Because power doesn't just solve problems, it creates new ones. Now the balance of the ridge has changed. The men have lost control, the women have gained it. And in a world already filled with tension, that kind of shift doesn't settle things. It destabilizes them. And as the episode quietly moves forward, there's a lingering question that never fully goes away. Did Jamie just solve a problem, or did he create a much bigger one? There's a detail in this episode that's incredibly easy to miss. But once you notice it, it changes how you see everything that follows. It's not in a dramatic speech. It's not in a major action scene. It's in the silence, in the reactions, in what's not being said. After Jamie makes his decision, pay attention to the atmosphere. The tension doesn't disappear. It shifts. The women may have been given authority, but that doesn't mean control has truly changed. Because authority without protection is fragile. And the men, the very men who were punished, are still there. This creates a dangerous imbalance. And here's the hidden truth. Jamie believes the women will stabilize the situation. But what if the opposite happens? What if this decision humiliates the men instead of reforming them? Because humiliation doesn't lead to peace. It leads to resentment. And resentment leads to action. Now connect that to something else we've already seen. Fergus and Marsali's print shop has been under attack before. Stones thrown, warnings sent, tension rising. That wasn't random. That was buildup. And now, with the ridge divided and emotions running high, that small thread of violence suddenly feels much more important, much more dangerous. Because when people feel powerless, they don't always accept it quietly. Sometimes, they lash out in the only way they can. And that's where the fire comes in. That moment in the trailer, the flames, the screams, Marsali's devastation, it doesn't feel like an accident anymore. It feels like escalation. And if that's true, then episode 6 didn't just resolve a conflict. It triggered the next one. Now, let's talk about what all of this could mean moving forward, because the signs are there, even if they're subtle. Jamie waking up in the middle of the night, sensing that something is wrong. That moment feels important, not just emotionally, but narratively. It's not presented as fear, it's presented as instinct. And in a story like this, instinct usually means one thing. Something is already in motion. It's possible that the betrayal we saw earlier wasn't the end of anything. It may have just been the beginning. The men who were punished may not act openly anymore, but that doesn't mean they've accepted their fate. In fact, it could mean they're planning something more extreme. Now, bring Fergus and Marsali into this. Their print shop isn't just a business. It's a symbol, a place where ideas spread, where influence grows. And in times of unrest, that kind of power becomes dangerous. People don't just attack buildings for no reason. They attack what those buildings represent. So if tensions on the ridge are rising and resentment is growing, then targeting the print shop would send a message, a loud one, and that leads to the most heartbreaking possibility of all. Henri Christian, we've seen just enough of him to care, just enough to feel the emotional weight, and placing him in danger now, it would raise the stakes in a way that changes everything for Fergus and Marsali. This could mean that the fire isn't just destruction, it's transformation. Because if something truly tragic happens, it won't just affect one storyline. It will ripple across every character connected to them. And suddenly, episode 6 starts to feel less like a turning point and more like the moment right before everything falls apart. Looking ahead, episode 7 feels like it's going to explode, emotionally and physically. William's storyline is another ticking time bomb. His relationship with Amaranthus was already complicated, but now it's crossed into dangerous territory.